Well, I've been sick, so I've had to drink lots of water lately. So I try not to spoil myself. So I'm spoiling myself with a little Canada Dry, which helps me out here, but vanilla cream flavor, which I've had before on the show. I really don't get a chance to drink much soda anymore because I have to keep drinking water, but in the end, it doesn't matter. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. It's episode 591, Black History Month. It's finally February. It's February 1st, and will be February 2nd when I'm doing the show live, and then when it airs out, that's why I'm wearing my Groundhog Day shirt, because tomorrow is Groundhog Day. It is still technically February 1st, even though it's 11:33 p.m., so less than half an hour before Groundhog Day, so I figure just wear this, and there we go. You'll have to excuse me. I'll be coughing through the majority of the show. I've been ill since Wednesday afternoon for the most part, pretty much all day Wednesday probably. Actually, I was feeling it on Wednesday, but it really hit me hard on Wednesday night, Thursday. Stayed home from work Thursday and Friday because it was just so bad. I had congestion, stuffy nose. My chest was hurting. I was coughing a lot. Whenever I coughed, my head would pound. I started to have like a little bump down here, which I think might be mumps, but it's not in all my things, it's just in one spot though, so I'm not sure. I had periodic back pain, not in the usual spots that I usually have to worry about. My stomach has been a little off. When I was coughing a while back there, I felt the breath, it tasted like blood in my mouth. It's been a really rough 2 days for me, but it's also been a rough few days for my daughter, who was also sick, not as bad as I was. And earlier in the week, my son was sick. He still soldiered through to school, but we offered to let him stay home. But he basically had the same cold I had. So I've gone through the whole thoughts that A, it's just the flu, B, it's the mumps, C, it's walking pneumonia. But I feel a whole lot better today, which is good. I have one more day of rest to go, and then obviously I'll probably get back to work on Monday, February 3rd. It is February finally. January ended on Friday, and it was one of the longest months ever. And it didn't get any better at the tail end of it. Last week, I wasn't going to get into the specifics of how shitty everything is, but it keeps getting shittier and nothing is getting done to fix it, take care of it. So I'm going to spend the first few minutes of my show today breaking down what actually happened for all you unbelievers out there who don't believe that this is not a bad thing. It's a very, very bad thing. You have just no idea. And that's what I've been saying once he was elected, that you have no idea what's coming. Well, here it is. You're like, oh, yeah, he's never going to do Project 2025. Every single thing that's happened so far since he's been in office has been a part of Project 2025. So he played your dumbasses again because you're stupid fucks. I'm going to try to calm myself down a little bit and not go absolutely apeshit crazy. But it's just way too much is going on right now, particularly how some of the stuff that happened is affecting people that I know. You think, oh, it's not going to affect me, and you shouldn't worry about it. Yeah, it's going to affect you in some form or another. Once I get through this rant, things just keep getting shittier for this year. One of the best Ravens players of all time is now in deep doo-doo. I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but just things keep popping up that it looks like more and more that he is actually the guy that everybody says he is, when I thought he should be given the benefit of the doubt. We'll see what happens. I'd like to maybe see this go to court and see what he actually has to say. That he did put out a message about stuff, but that was then, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of more stuff came out. I didn't get into this too much, but the Oscars are going to be all fucked up because of a bunch of things that are happening to some of the nominees, particularly some of the Amelia Perez ones, and the fact that the Brutalist is using AI, which should automatically disqualify it from winning anything. So there's a lot of shit there to unpack. But it's not all shit. And then, the other shitty thing going on, we have, as I mentioned last week, we have the shittiest available Super Bowl that could have existed, as I predicted we were going to get, because why not? Everyone is shitty right now, so why not just keep things shittier? So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that, because again, and this has been more blatant, how one team has been getting special favors from the referees. You all know what ones it is. I will go into more detail about that. And then Netflix, to get away from all that shit, to get away from that, to get back into what I like to do and what I prefer to talk about. I wish if Harris was elected president, we'd be talking not about any of this bullshit. Now, obviously, we talk about the Ravens thing because that happened without it being the fault of the felon in chief. But it would be a whole lot better, a whole lot brighter. I've gone dark for February again. I thought I'd go light for January, hoping and praying that somehow something would save us. But everything that's happened over the last 2 weeks in January has been absolutely shitty. So we're back to dark. Will I go back and forth? Will March be light again since it's springtime? Probably. It just might be more of a depend upon my feeling, my things. But I think for all of my episodes in February, we'll be in the dark here, because why not? Because it is a dark, disturbing time right now. But if we get away from that, as I said, next on Netflix dropped a whole shit ton of stuff. Some good, some bad, but they dropped a whole lot of shit. Stuff I didn't even know about that I'm getting excited for. Stuff I'm just like, okay. But they dropped a lot of shit. There's some new food items, some new drink items. The Odyssey by Christopher Nolan just keeps getting crazier and crazier. I think they finally round out the cast. It's supposed to start filming soon. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. So bear with me. This episode is probably going to last a little while, because I think I'm going to go off on a few things, and the Netflix stuff is going to take a little bit of time, but we'll see. I expect it to be about 2 hours, so bear with me here. So that puts us through Groundhog Day. Real quick before I get to the really shitty stuff, my sickness this week was really unexpected. Was hoping I wouldn't have to deal with it, but it just was just way too much for me. And I came to a realization of something, is that there were a few times when I would pass out asleep to get my rest, and then I would wake up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, and then it would take me an hour to get back to sleep, because as I'm lying there, my nose or my mouth or my throat or something starts making weird noises. Now, I'm not doing that. I'm not forcing, I'm not making the noises. I'm just lying there trying to sleep, and I'm breathing. The breathing is causing weird noises. Maybe it's from the lungs. I don't know, but it's causing weird noises to be coming out of my mouth. And I was afraid that my wife was going to hear them and I would keep her up, but she doesn't hear very well and she sleeps like the dead anyway. So that's a bonus, but it kept me up when I need to sleep. When I took off Thursday and Friday, I slept an additional 6 hours. 4 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. And then on Friday, I slept an additional 3 hours. I didn't sleep any in the afternoon because I had stuff I had to do, take the kids back and forth to school and stuff like that. So I didn't really sleep much during the afternoon, but I did an additional 3 hours sleep. So I got a lot of sleep over the weekend. I am feeling much better. As I said, I still have the congestion. I can still feel it. My chest doesn't hurt as much as it was. I'm still coughing. I still have the nasal stuff, as you can hear. But it's not as bad as it was. It was terrible. So I'm hoping that whatever this is down here is not associated with that, because it really does feel like it could be the mumps or something, but I don't think it is because I don't have it on this side. Do I? No. And I don't think I have pneumonia because my lungs don't hurt as much as they have been. Could have been COVID. Yeah, maybe. I doubt it though. But yeah, but the noises that it makes, I don't know if you ever watched these videos of people who videotape weird sounds in Appalachia or stuff like that. It's like Bigfoot sounds or creature sounds. It was like, starts off so it's like, and it doesn't have any rhyme or reason. Sometimes it it stays the same and then it switches gears and becomes something else. And then early this morning, when I had the same issue, I was closing one nose nostril, the other, and holding my neck, and it wasn't making any difference. I have no idea what's going on. So I will see what happens tonight. Hopefully with me feeling better, it's not going to be as big of a deal. But it's the weirdest sounds I've ever heard. I don't think I've ever heard them before. It was just like, it would sound like ice breaking, just weird ass noises and shit that were caused due to whatever the sickness is. So there's that. So let's talk about why today's episode is called Black History Month. One of the many things that happened this week with the felon in charge and President Musk and all the fascist, racist assholes in the White House. Now, one of the multitude of things is that they sent out an executive order or whatever that says that they will no longer be recognizing any of the months: Black History Month, Women's Month, Gay Pride Month, Juneteenth, any other specific days, stuff like that. They're not going to, be they're not going to say you can't do anything with them. We're not recognizing them, which it's not your call on what you recognize and what you can't recognize. So that's strike one against you, you fucking fascist pieces of shit. Racist ass fucks. On that same note, they've stopped all DEI initiatives in the federal government. And if you are considered a DEI hire, you're being fired. And they are suggesting that all companies do that across the country, but they'll do it by a state per state legislature. Texas has already put out that DEI has to be removed, which is ironic because the governor is in a wheelchair, which is the definition of DEI. DEI, by the way, is diversity, equity, and I forget what the I is, but diversity and equity. And he's disabled. And so they had to build ramps for him to move around in the courthouse, the official Texas state house or whatever, and in the mansion and stuff like that. Disabilities fall under that. If you are a DEI hire, diversity and equity, they hired a disabled person to do a job. And you signed off on how DEI has to remove also like that. You are a DEI hire. Yes, you were elected by the Texas people, but you are still a DEI hire. DEI is not a bad word. It is a word that they're using to not use the racist N-word towards black and brown people. They believe that only white people should get jobs and that a highly qualified black person, Asian person, Mexican person who was qualified to do the job was hired over a white person because of this DEI initiative. That's the whole point of it, is that if there was a white person who could do the job that they did, he'd be hired. These people were just better than the white people that they had pulled. And that's why they put DEI in place, is because fucking stupid businesses were posting jobs and then putting their useless friends in that to give them money, so like that. And they were fucking up everything. And so they said, well, you should actually have looked at people who actually qualified to do the job and not put your fucking buddies in there. And that's why they put those rules in place, so that you could actually have people who could run companies and important things the right way and not fuck it up like your fucking friends were. DEI is not a bad word. Just up there with CRT as an either, or CT or whatever the fuck it was called that won the Virginia election for that racist fuckbag as well. People only use it because they're racist pieces of shit. It's not like they just said, hey, we have to hire just some random black person off the street for this job that a qualified white person is not going to get because this black person has to get a job because of this law. No, the black person who got this job was qualified to do this job, maybe more so than your stupid white friend. So let's get to the really shitty stuff that happened this week. When he first came to office, the felon in charge was forced by his sugar daddy, Elon Musk, to fire the FAA, head of the FAA, Federal Aviation Association, and also to put a freeze on the, what do you call them? The people who watch the airplanes that come in and land them and stuff like that. A freeze on hiring for that, and also force other people out because they want to monetize and privatize air traffic control. So their billionaire buddies will have more money and then give them kickbacks. That's the whole reason why they're doing this. So there were a lack of air traffic control people in the air traffic control work at National Airport earlier this week. There was one person doing the job of two. And they found the problem and they announced it, but it was too late. A Black Hawk helicopter crashed into an airliner carrying 67 people. Everybody crashed into the Potomac, which was freezing cold at the time, and the majority of them died. 67 people in total died, including a figure skating team of young adults coming back from a competition in Wichita. My niece, who was a figure skater for years before she shifted over to hockey, knows two of the people who passed away in the airplane crash. The airplane crash happened about 5 miles from another friend's house outside in Virginia. The felon in charge blamed Joe Biden, President Obama, DEI, and Pete Buttigieg for the crash, and not for the fact that he put a freeze on air traffic control hiring, fired a number of people, and fired the FAA head of the FAA thanks to his sugar daddy, Musk. It's your fault. These people died. And then on top of that, someone asked him the question, are you going to visit the crash site? And that lunatic goes, what, you mean in the water? You expect me to go swimming? Not lying, not making this shit up. He blamed DEI. The pilots were white. The people in the Black Hawk helicopter were white. The person in the air traffic control office was white. President Biden is not president. Pete has not been Secretary of Transportation or whatever it was since you took power over 2 weeks ago. He has nothing to do with it. He did his job. He's done. You forced him out. You would have kept him in, probably wouldn't have happened. Probably would have, because you're taking your cues from President Musk, your sugar daddy. To make things even worse, about 2 days later, a small airplane in Philadelphia carrying 6 people crashed in Philadelphia, killing everybody on board the plane and a person on the ground, about 9 people in total. The airplane was carrying a young Mexican girl and her family who had gone, I believe, to Canada to get some health care to help her live. And she was on her way back home when it crashed. 2 airplane crashes in the span of 2 days after you fire the FAA, head of the FAA, and put a freeze on hiring people for air traffic control. And you're not blaming yourself because you're never going to blame yourself for anything. You'll always find another scapegoat. And your moron followers are going to believe every goddamn thing you say, including my new favorite thing where Fox News has come out and said paying more money for your groceries is patriotic. So are you telling me then that all this time when you were attacking President Biden for the high price of groceries, which you now say is patriotic to pay that cost, you are being unpatriotic? Sure as fuck sounds like it, doesn't it? These people are morons. They know that their base are filled with stupid, hick, shitbag, racist pieces of shit who don't give a fuck about anything except for themselves. And they're so fucking stupid, they have no idea what's going on. And they have no idea when they're being lied to. They have no idea when they're being conned. And they are made to believe that everything is good. They voted for him to get in office because they wanted the price of eggs to go down. The price of eggs is skyrocketing. They want him to vote in there because the price of gas was going high, which it wasn't. It's going high now. It's not going back down. And he's lying to you. His DEI hires where he's getting rid of people in federal offices who were put in by DEI. He's fired a number of Republican women who were put into that job, Republican white women who were put in that job as part of these DEI hires. They're not too happy about that. Well, you don't give a fuck. And you're stupid enough to believe him is that maybe he's right. Maybe I should back down and let him fuck me in the ass because I'm a stupid hick fucking moron. What else is going on this week? Let's see what else is going on. What else was happening this week? I just went over all this with my son. Elon Musk, President Musk, the ketamine, drug-addicted fuckbag, racist, illegal alien in our country who is not able to run for president because he's not born in this country and was not hired and not voted into the job, is now in charge of our Social Security and Medicaid, which means he can go in there and he can cut Medicaid and Social Security checks for people he deems are not Trumpian, including my mother, which means he's going to cut my mother's Social Security check, which she needs to survive, and her Medicaid, which she needs to survive. She just went through cancer because they don't give a fuck. All they care about is money. They believe that the U.S. government money is theirs to do with as they please, to go in their pockets or go in their buddies' pockets and not into regular people's pockets, or go into people's pockets who will bend the knee and let them do whatever the fuck they want. That should scare the fuck out of anybody. Trying to remember what else there is, but here's another thing. So, good news. The fires in California after 24 days have finally been under control. Palisades 100%, Elston's under 100%. All the other ones are contained. All the fires are contained in California. Because the governor in California made the felon in charge look like an idiot when he came to visit. And because he hates California anyway, he has forced two people to open up dams to help farmers during the fire, to release this water to help put out the fire that is already put out. California has been inundated with a huge amount of rainstorms, so the farmers' fields are already inundated with water. And then, hey, look at this. Here's a whole nother mountain of water that's going to wash through my farmland, and it's not farming season yet. The dams that he opened up are for irrigation purposes and are not to be opened up until May. Because that's when the farmers need the water the most, because that's when rain is small again, not very much in California. So the irrigation from the dams comes in and hits their farms, gives them the water they need to grow their crops. Well, guess what? You ain't going to get it this time because that moron thought he was doing a good job by helping put out the fires by opening the dam, despite the fact that the fires were put out and weren't affecting these farms. Oh, what's the other big thing, Dylan? Oh, yeah, that's right. The last thing I'm going to talk about with this, actually, there's two things. No, I already talked about that one. There's two things, actually. No, actually, there's one thing. The last thing we're talking about is today is February 1st. Yes, it still is 3 minutes for Groundhog Day. He signed an order today to put a 25% tariff on Canada, 25% tariff on Mexico, and a 10% tariff on China. We told them that wasn't going to happen, that it is not going to make things better for us. It's actually going to fuck us up more. It's going to make things be higher costs, higher prices, and it pissed off Mexico and Canada, who now look at us as enemies, and they're going to retaliate. And you know what? You can call me anti-American and where the fuck, I don't care. They fucking should retaliate against us because our country is so pussy-whipped and are filled with a bunch of pussies that they cannot stand up to fascism. So we're going to have to yield to Canada and Mexico to help us out. Now, I don't want China involved with that because that's a whole other bag of worms. But the fact that Canada's threatening a bunch of things to us, is doing a bunch of stuff to show how dissatisfied they are with it, I'm applauding you for that. Thank you for helping us out, Canada. You are a knight in shining armor. Mexico is still planning on doing some stuff as well, but they're not as blatant about it yet. Meanwhile, the lunatic in charge is planning on invading Panama, Greenland, Denmark, Canada, Mexico, to get his way as well. We got that to look forward to next week. Oh, yeah, a martial law probably going to be coming here soon, too. My last thought of the day is I'm done. I've been done for a long time now. This take the high road bullshit that the Democrats are doing has certainly not helped us in the last century. Al Gore won that election. Hillary Clinton won that election. Joe Biden won his election fair and square. Kamala Harris won the election. It was rigged by the GOP, Russia, Elon Musk, all that stuff. And everybody knows it too. The Russian interference in our election during election day should have been an automatic recount. The discrepancies in a lot of different things when it comes to tallying the votes should have been considered also. Elon Musk saying he knew the result of the election 4 hours before things closed because he has an app that shows how it's going to be because he was controlling the votes. The fact that Donald Trump back in July of last year said, you don't need to vote, we have the votes. How do you know? Most people thought that was just hyperbole. He thought there were going to be plenty of people, MAGA, were going to be able to win this election. And everybody's looking at it like he was a moron, just his whole total sick mind. No, it was a rigged election. There was enough there. And also, you all fully knew also that Project 2025 was going to be their key to what the next 4 years was going to be like. And yet, you gave up right away. You conceded the next day, despite all of the discrepancies and before all the votes were counted, I must reiterate. And then knowing full well that he was going to bring his fascist stuff, and he was already talking about it in December and into January before he was elected. You still let him walk in and take the keys to the country because you guys don't give a fuck about us. High road shit is over. I don't care what Michelle Obama says. I don't care what Joe Biden says. I don't care what anybody says. High road is over. You want to play dirty? We should play dirty too. If that means blowing shit up, killing people, honestly, I'm all for it because that's the only way. we're going to win. We're going to get back the country, because we're not getting back country by just laying back and letting them fuck us over and then letting other countries fight our battles for us. It ain't going to happen. You need to stand up. You need to revolt. Ain't going to happen, though, because America is a bunch of fucking pussies. Fuck you. All right. I have to keep going dark again. I'm done with my spiel on the government. I will be doing as much as I could for Black History Month as well. I will keep talking about it. I will keep posting about it. That's why I named the show Black History Month. I'll probably name the first episode of March Women's Month, Pride Month in June. I'll probably name the first episode of that, something like that as well, to prove that they can't shut us down. You can't. Just because you say something doesn't mean we have to do it. Gulf of America, fuck you. It's Gulf of Mexico, you bullshit head. Dumb fucks. Let's get bad again. Football time. So my viewers who are probably watching this now who probably don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm doing my government spiel. Just to verify, I am for Black History Month. I'm for DEI, even though I hate that word. It's diversity and equity. It's just being a good person and putting the right people in charge of it that need to be put there. So I'm going to shift over to football because there's some shit that's going on in football also. First up locally, one of the best Baltimore Ravens players of all time, and Justin Tucker, has been accused of sexual mistreatment of a number of massage therapists in the Baltimore area. Very Deshaun Watson-esque. When I first saw the story a couple days ago, it said only about 2 or 3 people had come out and said that he had done this, and that the incidents occurred almost 15 years ago, 2010, 2011, they're saying. And then it got me thinking, it's like, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Come on. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because 3 people, I haven't heard anything up to this point, 2010. I don't know. And I started thinking about it, like, if I can understand maybe why you don't want to bring that right away because of what happened and because you're afraid of something happening to you, retribution, whatever. When Deshaun Watson got busted a few years ago, that probably would have been the opportune time to come out and say, oh, yeah, by the way, Justin Tucker did it also. That was my thought process about 3 days ago when 3 people had said it, and we learned it was 2010. Since that point, 6 more people have come out and said that he did this to them. Tweets came out about people calling him out on these things from a few years ago that I'd never seen before and was never brought up in any articles or news stories that I know of. And that he has been banned from a number of massage therapist places. Excuse me. All that adds up to something that doesn't sound like that. It's a made-up conspiracy against him. People who are trying to jump on his fame. Plus, he's a kicker. Doesn't make as much as a quarterback. With Deshaun Watson, it was easier to understand because he had 25 people complaints about him. When Justin Tucker only had 3, it seemed probably something there. 9, you're starting to get in the window. Is like, yeah, that's a little high. I still don't understand why they waited till now. Again, I can understand maybe you don't want retribution or whatever, but when Deshaun Watson got called out a few years ago, would have been the opportune time for you to come out and say this if it indeed happened in 2010, 2011. Now, that's what I've been told. I haven't been told that it was any recent, like recently. I was told that it was 15 years, some years ago. So it really kind of sucks right now. And it also kind of makes maybe a little sense is that last year, maybe things were starting to bubble up that he was going to hear stuff. And that's when he started making all these bad kicks. But then he started getting better after the bye this year and has not missed one since. And so I thought maybe it was just his mind was in the right place because of he had the yips or whatever. But could it be that he thought something was going to come down about this sexual misconduct stuff, and that's what caused him to sort of fuck things up a little bit? I'm still not sure. I don't know. So it kind of sucks because I like Justin Tucker. He is one of the greatest kickers of all time. He seemed like a genuinely good guy, nice guy. The Rofo commercials are really stupid. He's an opera singer. The way he proposed to his girlfriend was beautiful and sweet. Now I'm not so sure. It's getting really, really hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's something in the back of my head that says, just wait to find out what happens if there's a court case or whatever. We can find out more for sure. So this is to be continued, I guess. Plus, the Ravens are going to have to figure out what they're going to do. Deshaun Watson continued to play. He was suspended for a couple seasons, but he did continue to play years after these incidences. So we'll see how that all works out. And one last really shitty thing. There's probably going to be other ones in there that I can find, but football related. The worst possible Super Bowl that we can imagine is actually going to happen. Kansas City Chiefs are going for the three-peat versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles have a toxic fan base. Kansas City Chiefs are a bunch of whiny little bitches who get preferential treatment by the NFL and referees. Now, before you say, oh, stop with that bullshit, have you watched that Bills-Chiefs game? Someone laid down a 5-minute video of all the times the refs fucked up, and it's kind of glaring. Could they have missed some Bills stuff against the Chiefs? I guess, sure, but they were not game changers. These were. And they were pretty obvious, too. 3rd and 5, Allen makes a run for it. Obviously gets the first down. They mark it short, but it's obvious he's at least 3 yards over the 10-yard line. 4th down, he gets it over. Again, they say he doesn't. A flop by that fucking pussy quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Being pushed out of bounds, did a flop, got 15-yard penalty on that. An unsportsmanlike conduct in the end zone after that dickbag, punk-ass Travis Kelce bitch taunted Damar Hamlin. Probably said something like, I wish you would have stayed dead or you should have stayed dead. I'm sure that's probably what he said to him because his teammate got pissed and shoved Kelce, and the bill got flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct despite Kelce running his mouth. Now, Kelce got charged $11,500 fine for that, but that's a bunch of bullshit. Obviously, you knew that he did something wrong, so you should have flagged his dumb ass instead of just fining him because that's nothing. That's whatever. He apart from his girlfriend. Look, I have nothing against Taylor. I think him and Taylor are great together. I'm not blaming Taylor Swift for the NFL doing this. I'm blaming Roger Goodell and the NFL for using Taylor Swift because they are getting more money, more views, more people interested in the NFL. So they figure why not fix it so that the Chiefs can, keep winning and we keep having Taylor Swift show up and the Swifties keep showing up to these games and keep spending money and stuff like that. We make more and more money because money is what is the root of all evil in this fucking country. That and racism are the two worst things about this fucking country. And stupidity and morons and fuck faces and dumb shits. I digress. Oh yeah, by the way, Patrick Mahomes is MAGA. His wife is MAGA. Their kicker is MAGA. So a bunch of those fuckbags on the Chiefs totally believe in everything that's happening to our country right now. So they can go fuck off. So yes, I will be cheering for the Eagles, but we already know it ain't going to happen. Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. We already know this has already been set in stone. It's going to be on some bad calls by the refs that people are going to call out, but then Chiefs fans are like, no, you're just making it all up. They did bad calls and everybody else. No, they don't. They do. You should really watch some of these videos of all the bad fucking calls that were made. Not only during this, there was a video that's placed about all the bad calls during the whole playoffs. That leads credence to the fact that the refs are screwing with the Bills. Let's talk about a few more. There was a throw by Mahomes down to Xavier Worthy that is obvious in replay that it hit the ground and that he was able to stop it. Should have been called incomplete pass. Was not called incomplete pass, even after review. And they scored a touchdown next. And that was when the punk ass Kelsey did his unsportsmanlike conduct. And then the last play of the game, Josh Allen throwing to his tight end who drops the ball, just like Mark Andrews did. They would have won the game, but it would have improved their chances of getting closer to a win if he would have caught that. But there was a mystery flag on the ground that was picked up once they saw that the ball was not caught. Basically, the refs were going to call a penalty on the Bills if the tight end would have made the catch. Call it whatever you want. You can call it pass interference, illegal man downfield, something that would be either 10-yard, 15-yard penalty, 10-yard penalty maybe, or loss of down, whatever. They had the flag already thrown down. They're ready to call something against the Bills if he would have made that catch. I fucking hate this year. Fucking hate it. And it's only February 2nd because it is officially Groundhog Day. All right, let's resituate. Let's get back to where we are. 43 minutes is good enough with all the doom and gloom. Let's get to some pop culture shit. First up, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey already has one of the biggest stat casts out there. It is officially going to start filming in March. Be out sometime next year, July 2026. So let's already go over who's in it right now. My girl Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, my girl Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o. Those are the big seven right now. Who has been joined them? John Barenthal joined them last week. I talked about it last week. This week, Elliot Page, who worked with him on Inception, is in it. John Leguizamo has been cast. Samantha Morton, Himesh Patel, Bill Irwin, who worked with him in Interstellar, is in this as well. Benny Safdie, who was in Oppenheimer, is in this. They all joined Nolan's Odyssey, starting to film in March. That is an even more stacked fucking cast. Speaking of an even more fucking stacked cast, Scream 7, which is currently filming right now, shocked us all with two castings and one other one that's okay. Mark Consuelos has been cast in Scream 7. The big ones, Scott Foley and Matthew Lillard, have also been cast in Scream 7. It is rumored that Matthew Lillard and Scott Foley will be reprising their roles from Scream 2 or Scream 1 and Scream 3, respectively. Scott Foley played Nev Campbell's Sydney's character's half-brother, who was the one who set the whole Scream stuff in motion, talked to Ski Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, talked them into doing all this stuff because he hated the fact that his mother rejected him, who was Sydney's mother. And Matthew Lillard is back as Stu Macher. So how's this going to work? Well, who knows at this point? Right now, what we do know is Skeet Ulrich came back as a ghostly vision in Scream 5 and 6. Is Matthew Lillard and Scott Foley going to come back in some form like that? Are we going to have maybe flashbacks? Maybe it's going to be meta with the fact that they're going to be the actors who played the roles in the original movies that come back and they're going to get killed by whoever is doing the killing. Don't know. Kevin Williamson is directing it. I'm not sure if he wrote the script, though. But it's his baby, so it should be interesting. So Scream 7 is turning into a stacked film as well. So we'll see what happens. Mountain Dew is continuing their rebrand. They're going to be rebranding Voltage and Code Red this year, which means they'll probably be re-releasing them more wide. They're just changing the logo slightly on both of those. So we're probably seeing that a little bit more. The Fantastic Four trailer, which everybody thought was not going to come out until the Super Bowl, is actually going to be... Excuse me, is actually going to be out on Tuesday, February 4th. F4, Fantastic Four. Makes sense. So we will get our first look at that on Tuesday. Supposedly it's going to be on Good Morning America early in the morning, like at 9 a.m. So we'll find out if that's indeed the case. Beef 2, season 2 begins filming this week with Oscar Isaac in one of the roles, and Carrie Lowell as well. A newly discovered asteroid is set to hit Earth. Excuse me, should have a 1 in 83 chance of hitting Earth in December of 2032. It is a giant building size one. I think they said like Empire State Building size one, something like that. See, here's what I'm talking about. I just cough in my head. It's pounding now. So we'll see if that happens. Dogman movie came out this week. The animated film based on the children's series of books is set to take in about $35.3 million this week, which is a outstanding January opening. Excuse me. And we'll make it be number one, obviously. So good sort of start to January so far. The first fairly biggish kind of hit. Mr. Beast and the Roblox CEO are one of the couple buyers who are thinking about buying TikTok. We have a couple other people who are in the mix to buy TikTok. Miramax and Robert Rodriguez are going to be redoing The Faculty. Okay. Sure, why not? The Japanese film or Korean film or Chinese film, Audition, which is said to be having a remake years ago, is finally going to be going forward with a remake coming up here soon. We are now officially in February, and Dr. Pepper Blackberry and the orange cream Coke are both set to debut sometime this month. So hopefully I'll be able to find them before my next show, and I'll be able to give them a taste test and let you know if they're worth trying out for them. I'm actually really dying for the orange cream Coke because they used to have I like the orange and vanilla Coke that came out before COVID. It was out before COVID and then disappeared after COVID. Wishing it would come back, and now we've got this orange cream one, which is going to be something similar. And then blackberry is a good flavor, can mix with Dr. Pepper, should be pretty decent. So should be pretty good. How about this beer can chicken flavored Pringles. Not sure about that. They're also releasing 7-layer dip Pringles, and they're bringing back the potato, the stack. I can't read my hand right now. Like stacked potato. That's going to have like everything on it: sour cream and cheese and bacon and potato flavors all together. It's coming back out. That's actually a pretty decent one from what I recall. So that's all that for that right now. Anniversaries: the horror film Valentine debuted 24 years ago this week. Phantoms. You were the bomb in Phantoms. 27 years ago this week. Image Comics debuted 32 years ago this week. Deaths: Gary Fisher, Carrie Fisher's loyal dog, passed away this week. And John Irwin, the voice of He-Man, died at the age of 88 this week. All right, next up. Now's the time. Yep, why not? 51 minutes in, we're going to get into it here. Was not expecting this at all, but when I kept seeing Netflix announcements, I was like, what is going on? Apparently, Netflix has 2 events. They have the Ta-Dum, which comes out in September, which is more of releasing trailers and talking about upcoming stuff for the next year, 2026. So apparently they have Next on Netflix, which talks about their slate of stuff coming out this year. And they went all crazy with this. They debuted a new trailer for The Electric State, which is the Russo brothers film with Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. They released a new trailer for Troll 2. Troll was a smashing hit for them. It was a Norwegian film about an actual troll that people had to fight. There's a Troll 2 now coming out this year. Sandman Season 2, which has been kind of silent so far for a while now, is officially set to debut this year. However, as expected, it will be the final season of Sandman. They will not be doing a 3rd season of it. Officially, they said that when they were adapting the Sandman stuff to television, they knew it would only be a 2-season thing, which is a bunch of hooey, by the way. There's ways you could continue Sandman for at least 4 to 5 seasons because they're only going to scratch the surface. They're probably only going to get to about maybe issue 35 with this season because Season of Mist is a huge storyline. Anyway, we all know that it's because of Neil Gaiman and his issues. But officially, it's because they said when we sat down to adapt it, we thought it would only last 2 seasons, which is, again, a bunch of bullshit. No trailer, though, but we are assured it will be out in 2025. Devil May Cry anime comes to Netflix on April 9th. We got our first look at that. I did not know about this movie, but being a history guy, this movie absolutely sounds like one that I would love. It's an aspect of history, or not an aspect, a story in history that does not get a lot of coverage and that a lot of people don't know about and won't for a while because this country sucks ass. Death by Lightning. And the movie stars Michael Sheen, who plays the 20th President of the United States. Do you know who the 20th President of the United States was? No, you don't. James Garfield. Now, James Garfield's claim to fame really is that Jim Davis named Garfield the cat after James Garfield. But the other claim to fame that James Garfield had is not as good. He was one of the first presidents to be assassinated. And this movie will be about the assassination of James Garfield, what led up to it, and the actual assassination. Michael Shannon will be playing James Garfield. Matthew McFadden is set to play his assassin. And it is also set to star Nick Offerman and Betty Gilpin. This film looks good. They had some behind-the-scenes shot of it. No trailer yet. No date for it yet, but it looks good. It looks like a film that I want to see, and hopefully it'll be worth it. We got our first poster for Stranger Things Season 5. It's basically 11 saying this girl is missing. If you have any idea where she is, call this number. So we don't know what that's all about. There's going to be an Eddie Murphy documentary coming to Netflix. Netflix does documentaries really good. The Old Guard 2, which has been on ice for years, on the shelf for years, starring Charlize Theron. The first one did really well, and it just took forever to get the sequel out. Well, we're finally going to get it on July 2nd, which is a great date for it. So fantastic on that end. The Four Seasons, I believe it's a TV show. I'm not sure, though, because it stars Tina Fey, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and Steve Carell. It's a great cast right there. It's about lifetime friends who gather every year on a vacation and how their lives change, stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. Written by Tina Fey, so should be very scathing, very good humor. It could be very interesting. Great fucking cast. So see how that works out. Speaking of Charlize Theron, she has an action film called Apex coming to Netflix, and they've cast Eric Bana opposite her. We got our first look at Keira Knightley, the Keira Knightley Guy Pearce, The Woman in Cabin 10, based on the novel about a woman who spies another woman getting thrown off of a cruise ship that she's on into the ocean. And when she tries to alert the people in charge, they don't believe her, and they do a head count, and everybody is there. So she has to figure out what's going on if she's going crazy. But then, of course, because she saw that, things start closing in on her because she saw something she wasn't supposed to. Also stars Hannah Haddingham and David Morrissey as well. We also got our first look at Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro, Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz film. I've forgotten, it was due November 2025. I've forgotten that Andrew Garfield was supposed to be in it, but then he got replaced by Jacob Elordi, and I posted something on Facebook which had Andrew Garfield as in the cast. So let me see if I can delete that here real quick. Bitch. All right, where are you? Maybe I didn't do it. Maybe it might have been on Threads or something like that. So I forgot to look on Threads. I had some more info that probably didn't get onto here, but that's okay. Yeah, I got him. But yeah, so I'll have to look that up. Oh well. I'm sure somebody will call me. I was like, oh no, he's not in that anymore. All right, this is a weird update on this Netflix. Next on Netflix, they are doing a reboot, update, whatever you want to call it, to Little House on the Prairie. Yay. The funniest thing that came out about that was one of the MAGA shitbags who are in office, when she saw this was coming out, she's like, oh, God, they're going to make Little House on the Prairie woke. And then the star of it, I forget her name, but everyone knows who it is. The star of it comes out and says, did you actually watch the show? Did you actually read the books? We covered all the stuff that you called woke back in the 70s and 80s. So I have no idea what you're talking about. You're a stupid fucking moron. Melissa Gilbert, that's who said that. She didn't call him a stupid fucking moron. That was me. But basically that was what her tone was. It was like, did you not watch the show? Basically what she's saying. We were, we did what you call woke back in the 70s, 80s. She covered everything she did. We did this, and this, which is all considered woke now. And it's like, did you even watch the show? The Residence is a TV show from the Shondaverse about a murder mystery inside the White House. It's a TV show. It's a show, apparently. It comes out March 20th. We get a first trailer for it. We got our first picture from Wake Up Dead Man, which features Josh O'Connor, looks like a priest, and Daniel Craig, looking completely different than he usually does. Judy Blume's Forever, which is a blast of the past. Forever, what I remember most about was I never read it, except for this one section. My sister read it, and there is a section in it which details the girl's first sexual experience. And my sister was reading it at the time because it's Judy Blume. It's a girl's book like that. And I had heard that was in there, so I leafed through the book and I read the sex part over and over again. I was like 9 years old. So they are making a movie of it. And they're making it woke by casting African-American actors. Oh, Jesus Christ. My head hurts. It's not just because I'm sick. But yeah. So got our first look at that. February 20th, Zero Day TV series. Robert De Niro pops up. Should be interesting. And we got our first look at R.I.P., which is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's film that they are working on together with Joe Karaninen. I have more Netflix stuff coming up later in the show. I only had so much space in here, didn't know how much I was going to get into it. So I had to put other stuff on here first. So we'll get back to some more Netflix stuff in a little bit because there's more. First look at Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender in Soderbergh's new film Black Bag. The Toxic Avenger remake with Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood is set to debut on August 29th now in theaters. Will be unrated. Will be on Labor Day weekend. So everybody who wanted it to come out in theaters, well, it's coming out on Labor Day weekend. Perfect weekend to go out and see it. Let's see if you actually do. Isabel Fuhrman is set to be in a film called Die by Night. Is Crystal Pepsi coming back? Some cryptic video of coming from PepsiCo showing people taking off Starry labels and showing Crystal Pepsi underneath. I'm not sure what that means, but people are speculating it could mean Crystal Pepsi might be making a return here very soon. Timothy Olyphant joins Anya Taylor-Joy in Apple TV series Lucky. Jake Gyllenhaal is set to star in M. Night Shyamalan's new supernatural romantic thriller. But the twist here is that M. Night Shyamalan will be working with famous romance author Nicholas Sparks, who wrote who co-wrote the screenplay with him. So it could be very interesting. A supernatural thriller, Nicholas Sparks and M. Night Shyamalan together. Interesting. Ormond Hightower set to join the new season of House of Dragons. The WGA is set to honor my boy David Lynch with a Lifetime Achievement Award. And this is interesting. The Locked trailer debuted this week. Stars Anthony Hopkins and Bill Skarsgård. And it's an interesting premise. It just seems to take place in one location. Well, in one spot, I should say. It's about a guy down his luck, thief, whatever, who breaks into a car. And once he gets in the car, it locks him in and comes to life on itself. And then a voice comes over the phone. It's Anthony Hopkins, who is in control of the car. And Bill Skarsgård can't escape. And he takes the car on a death drive, who's going to, drive down the road really fast, cause damage, kill people, to do a message or whatever for thieves and stuff like that. It looks like an intriguing thriller, to be honest. Don't know when it's set to debut, but it's really neat looking. This kind of pissed me off a little bit. I guess I can understand it. Joe Shuster, co-creator of Superman, his family is suing James Gunn and Warner Brothers and DC to not release the new Superman movie in Canada, the UK, Ireland, and Australia. The reason being is that part of their deal for allowing, the getting the rights back for the creation of Superman, whatever, was that they had the rights to distribute the films to these locations, just those locations right there. And I don't believe Zack Snyder, that piece of shit, probably even gave a rat's ass about Schuster, or it happened, or that rule came into place after done, because I never heard about it till now. And I don't think Christopher Reeve or anything like that had to deal with it as well. So I think it was something that had to do, or anything else that happened in the early 2000s with Superman Returns. I think it's a more recent thing, though. So right now, James Gunn has to figure out a way to make a deal with Schuster to allow for the movie to get seen in Canada, the UK, Ireland, and Australia. So that's to be continued as well. Death, Connie Attanasio died at the age of 96. You probably never even heard of her. She was only someone that only members of people who live in Milwaukee, who are fans of the Milwaukee Brewers, probably know who she is. Her husband, George Attanasio, is and has been the opening day Milwaukee Brewers singer for the national anthem every year for 40, 50 some years. And she was at every game that he sang at and watched every game on TV. She was the Brewers mega fan. And the Milwaukee Brewers knew who she was. They released a statement about her death, and it was very sweet. Anniversaries, The Relic debuted 28 years ago this week. She's All That debuted 26 years ago this week, and The Mothman Prophecies debuted 23 years ago this week. Moving right along now, we've got 2.5 more pages to go. Excuse me. Right. So, local news: the Hippodrome, which is Baltimore's off-Broadway, or I should say, theater that gets traveling shows for Broadway shows, stuff like that. They come to town. This is where it gets played. It's a beautiful theater. I've been there multiple times. I'm actually going there in June to see Chicago with my daughter. They released their new schedule for the new season starting in November of 2025 and going through June of 2026. The big one that my daughter and I will be going to see also next February is Back to the Future, the musical. Will be making its debut with a traveling show at the Hippodrome. We are also getting a quick run of Wicked and Hadestown. All them are back-to-back. So Wicked's in January 2026. Back to the Future is February 2026. Hadestown is March 2026. We're also getting the Phantom of the Opera. New version of that. We're getting Water for Elephants. We're getting a version of The Great Gatsby. We're getting Kimberly Akembo, Suffy, and the Neil Diamond musical, A Beautiful Noise, I think is what it's called. So we're also getting How the Grinch Stole Christmas for the holidays in December. So a musical of that. So it's got a really interesting thing come up, but that Back to the Future in February is going to be huge of next year. So 1 year from now, my daughter and I will be going to see Back to the Future at the Hippodrome, hopefully. Chris Evans, who is said to be reprising his role as Captain America in Avengers Doomsday, has actually officially come online and said, I don't know where that came from. I am happily retired, so I will not be doing Doomsday. So here's something to think about. One, he's telling the truth. It's people who want, since Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, it's like, why not Chris Evans come back? We miss him. We want him in there, blah, blah, blah. But what if Chris Evans said, not going to happen, it's not going to happen, and it doesn't happen? That's cool. That's great. That would actually be better, because I think it would be better to have Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom and not as a Tony Stark clone or alternate or whatever. Have him be completely disguised as a different character. I think that's how it would work out better. So we have that. Or He's lying his ass off. Like Andrew Garfield, like Tobey Maguire. All those people said we're not in Spider-Man No Way Home. And he's lying his ass off, and he's trying to cut off the damage. Don't know what to believe and won't know what to believe until I actually sit down on May 6, 2026 to watch Doomsday. So we'll check that out when that comes out in about a year and a half. Fire Aid, a huge concert to help support the firefighters and the state of California recovering from the fire. Had tons of people there: Red Hot Chili Peppers, Green Day, Billie Eilish, Stevie Wonder, Joan Jett, Joan Baez, who had to be wheeled out to sing her song at 90-some years old. Actually sang pretty good till she started losing it a little bit from her just being overtired and being 90 years old, and someone came out and finished it for her, which is great. But the big deal was that Nirvana reformed and came out and redid reformed as a band, and David Grohl and the other guy who was in Nirvana came back out, and then they had a rotating group of people singing different Nirvana songs, and it rocked everything up. So that was interesting to see that. No Doubt was there also. I got this one. I have to remember it. Jurassic World Rebirth trailer is the first trailer to say that they will be at the Super Bowl during the Super Bowl commercial. So we'll be seeing our first Jurassic World Rebirth trailer on Super Bowl Sunday. Ellen Pompeo, in her first role since leaving Grey's Anatomy, is a movie called Good American Family. Daisy Ridley is set to star in Trailblazer about virtual reality. A kickboxer video game, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, might be getting its own video game. Yippee. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson reprised their roles from True Detective to help bolster Texas's getting people to come and film in Texas. Yellowtail and Domino's are set to team up for wine. It will not be a pizza-flavored wine, but they will be signed up for them, teaming up with them as well. Totino's pizza-flavored ramen and double fudge stripes will be coming out here soon, too. Dark Wind Season 3 trailer debuted this week. Insidious 6 has been shifted to a full year. It's supposed to come out this year. Will not be out now until August 21st, 2026. No reason why. After the surprise success of Den of Thieves 2, Den of Thieves 3 is currently in the works. In the natural world, Southwest Alaska experienced our largest earthquake in 35 years this week. And Maine, of all people, got an earthquake this week as well. 3.5 was felt all the way in Boston. Actually, that was on a different page. I'll probably find that later. I'll come upon it. Probably on this page. Oh, well, I'll find it eventually. I'll find it eventually. And increased volcanic activity has appeared in Greece's popular tourist island, Santorini. So don't know if that's going to be volcanoes hitting later this year. Could be pretty bad if they do. Because we also have volcanic activity in Washington State and some mountains up there. So we've got that. There are some rumblings, a lot more rumblings than usual around a volcano. So there's talk that we could be, hey, that could be keeping up with how great this fucking year is going to be. We're going to have some volcanoes now hit and destroy some shit. And maybe, just maybe, all the ash will maybe cause a lot more damage to our psyche and the world and our country as well. That'd be great. But, not much you can do about that. That's just nature. A baby born in a Krispy Kreme's in Alabama is set to get free donuts for a year. And Krispy Kreme's has offered to allow the baby to celebrate its first birthday at their store. So that's pretty cool. All right. Next on Netflix, the next batch of stuff. We got Wednesday season 2 teaser. That's kind of creepy, actually. All it showed was Wednesday opening a door and seeing a woman chained up. That was it. That's all they saw. So kind of cool to see that. So I wonder what that's going to be all about. Noah Baumbach is directing a Netflix film called J. Kelly. It's set to star George Clooney, Adam Sandler, his wife Greta Gerwig, who directed Barbie, Laura Dern, Billy Crudup, Patrick Wilson, Riley Keough, Stacy Keach, Jim Broadbent, and is co-written by Emily Mortimer, who will also be starring in the movie as well. No news about what it's about, but that's the cast, and it's pretty impressive. Squid Game Season 3 is set to debut June 27th. I think that was already announced, but I'm announcing it again. They announced it again during Next on Netflix. A Titan documentary, not about the awesome Saturn moon, but the ill-fated submarine trip down to Titanic that killed those billionaires. It'd be kind of neat if they went back down and tried that again, but this time with Elon Musk and the executive felon in charge. That's besides the point, but there's a documentary in the works about that. There's also a 6-part documentary series about a basketball team, the Olympic basketball team, as they prep for the Olympics in Paris from last year. Wayward, we also get our first look at Wayward. Toni Collette is playing the leader of a school for troubled teens. We get the Ash trailer starring Eliza Gonzalez and Aaron Paul, set to debut March 21st. And Netflix buys Train Dreams, that stars Joel Edgerton and Felicity Jones from Sundance. So they'll be debuting that on Sundance, not Sundance, on Netflix eventually. So that is all the Netflix news I believe I have. There might be one or two things that pop up, but we'll see. Anniversaries. Taken is 17 years ago this week. Final Destination 2, I didn't get the year on that, but I think it was early 2000s, so some 19 to 20 years ago. And one of my favorite movies, which I haven't watched in a long time, I should probably revisit it, Joe Dante's Matinee, starring John Goodman and Kathy Moriarty, is an outstanding film that not a lot of people know about, underrated film that takes place during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it follows a teenager whose dad is on one of the boats blockading Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis for the United States. And he lives out on Key West. And that's going to be, if the Cubans were going to attack the United States, that was going to be the first place it would hit because it's the closest. And it's about just the intensity of the Cuban Missile Crisis, but that plays a minor role in the movie because it's just about these teenagers who are, they're teenaging. They have got hormones. They're in love with, they're trying to date girls. They're trying to survive high school, stuff like that. And the young boy, his dad is out in the on the ships. He is a horror movie fanatic, 1950s, 1960s horror movie fanatic. And he learns that John Goodman, who plays one of his favorite directors, Wolsey, I forget his name, but I think Wolsey's the character's name. I forget what it is. Is coming to town to debut a new film, which is a 4D experience, which includes, stuff, vibrating chairs and explosions and all kinds of stuff to really give you a full ensconced motion picture thing. And the young boy decides to help out there while learning about life and love during the Cuban Missile Crisis and dealing with bullies and all kinds of stuff. It is anti-war. It is such a great film, hugely underrated, and absolutely needs to be seen by everybody. Matinee is the name of the film. Debuted 32 years ago this week. Dick Button Olympic skating guru and voice of skating, died at the age of 95. And Marianne Faithfull, a musician. Friends with all the big wigs like Mick Jagger and stuff like that. She passed away this week as well. Already did that. Brandon Skellner joins The Rescue, a Western film. Mina Savari, Skeet Ulrich, and Lynn Shay are all set to join the thriller Devoted. That's an interesting cast from the 1990s, shall we say. Coleman Domingo and Emily Blunt are set to star in Steven Spielberg's sci-fi film called The Dish. Nothing like the other great movie that I know of called The Dish, set to debut May 2026. But it's Spielberg's return to aliens and UFOs. Talking about the Eddie Murphy documentary, he is set to star as a retired super spy like a James Bond who has to come back to fight his antagonist in the movie Blue Falcon. The Bears' Jeremy Allen White is set to star in a new Netflix queer drama. So he's going to be either doing 2 shows or The Bears ending. I'm not sure. I already talked about that. Coraline stage adaptation is canceled after the whole Neil Gaiman stuff. The Year of the Snake occurred on Wednesday, so we are presently in the Year of the Snake right now. Tom Welling, the former Clark Kent of Smallville, was busted on DUI. Riff Raff trailer starring Jennifer Coolidge, Pete Davidson, Bill Murray, and Gabrielle Union debuted. It's about gangsters and stuff like that. Krispy Kreme's Valentine's Day donut set is coming out here soon. I already talked about that. Lost Boys to Get a Musical. That's the vampire film with Kiefer Sutherland. Liz Gillis and Milo Manham joined the off-Broadway rebirth of Little Shop of Horrors. This is actually kind of interesting. Will Ferrell is developing a stage musical, Broadway musical of his film Eurovision from Netflix, which actually makes a lot of sense as a musical. And that's fantastic. That's a great story because that's a great movie. The new Sinners trailer debuted this week, coming out April 18th. We get our first look at Haley Steinfeld as a vampire. The entertainment system is down, starts filming with Keanu Reeves, Daniel Bruhl, Kirsten Dunst, and Samantha Morton, who's all over the place. This is the weird film where people on an airplane flying from like Australia to the United States, the entertainment system breaks down, so they have nothing to do during their long flight. So it's all going to take place on the airplane. So that's kind of an interesting idea. Fan hurt while celebrating the Eagles' win, dies from his injuries. Also, a car plowed through celebrants in Philadelphia as well. So that's wonderful. Missing Van Gogh painting has been proven to be real. But let's tell you a story about it. Someone bought a painting from a garage sale in Minnesota for $50. And somehow someone looked at it and said, you know what? That looks a lot like Vincent Van Gogh. And they brought out some art dealers or people who know art stuff and art history. And they say they believe it to be one of the missing Van Gogh paintings. So they got some experts to come out. They did some tests on it, stuff like that, and determined it actually was the real missing Van Gogh that had somehow made its way to Minnesota, and someone sold it at a garage sale for $50. That's such a great story. I love those types of stories. So yeah, all true. John M. Chu, the director of Wicked, and Jill Culbin are set to co-direct the animated musical based on the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, with music from EGOT winners Benji Pasky and Justin Paul, and J.J. Abrams is set to produce it. So that's a pretty good setup there. So we have a good crew coming in for that one. So that could be really, really good. Kevin Kline is set to star in American Classic, a show from MGM Plus, which I didn't think it still existed, but here we are. You'd think it'd be on Prime or something like that. about a famous Broadway actor who has sort of a meltdown. So goes back to his hometown where he started his road to stardom, and discovers his father, who was one of the best, around, is started to lose his marbles. And the theater where he cut his teeth on is now owned by his brother, played by John Tenney, who has turned it into a dinner theater. And Kevin Kline instead decides that it's time for him to bring real theater back to the people of his hometown as he tries to build up his reputation again. Kind of interesting idea for a story, and have Kevin Kline involved with it. His director, Michael Hoffman from Soap Dish, is doing it as well. So that'll be a plus as well. I'm pretty sure he was in Soap Dish. I know Downey was. I know Sally Field was, but I'm 100% certain that Kevin Kline was also. Yep, I was right. Yep. There he is. Oh, that's still a killer cast. Soap Dish, Sally Field, Robert Downey Jr., Whoopi Goldberg, Kevin Kline, Kathy Moriarty, Elizabeth Shue, Kathy Najimy, Terry Hatcher, Carrie Fisher, Gary Marshall, Ben Stein, Mary Pat Gleason, Willie Garson, Sheila Kelly, Costas Mandalore, Jesus Christ, John Tesh, Lisa Gibbons, Phil Leeds. I forgot how stacked this cast was. I check that out again. But yeah, so Michael Hoffman, who directed Soap Dish, will be producing and show running this show. So could work out pretty good, particularly if you can get some good casting. But John Tenney, Kevin Kline, his brothers, is very interesting. I can see it. It should be fun to see it. I haven't seen John Tenney in a while, so that's good. Deaths, Ken Flores, a comedian, 20 years old, died. He was the creator of the Latin XL show. He was a Latin comedian as well. John Roland Big John Heward, an NFL player, was dead at the age of 80. Greg Bell, Olympic gold medalist, died at the age of 94. Ryan White Malloy, voice of Rust Belt, the voice of the Rust Belt Band, which was a friend of my friends Mike Belinsky and Kelly Toole. He passed away this week. Mike Toth, Disney animator who did Tarzan, Mulan, Hercules, and all those later, like probably Princess and the Frog as well, type ones. He died this week as well. Anniversaries. The Ravens won their first Super Bowl 24 years ago this week. Challenger Explosion was 39 years ago this week. True Detective debuted 10 years ago this week. And Deep Rising debuted 27 years ago this week. Final half here. Pretty impressive. I was able to get through all this. Netflix last week. This is before the whole Netflix. Netflix last week, and I mentioned this in my show last week, pretty much stated that the live action One Piece season 2 was set to debut at the end of 2025. This week they came out and said, well, maybe not. So I don't think they alone know either if it's going to be there. So for now, the live action One Piece season 2 does not have a specific date when it's set to come out. I still think it finds its way out in December of this year because it still has a lot of special effects, but they've been filming for a while now. So we'll see. The amateur trailer with Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne debuted this week. Jason Patrick joins Law and Order Organized Crime, the newest Law and Order show. The Bedwetter, Sarah Silverman's new musical, is set to debut at the Arena Stage. Happy Face trailer. Dennis Quaid and Anna Lee Ashford follows a couple as they deal with the effects of a spree killing that affected him, their family, and other people. I did that one already. The White Lotus season 3 trailer debuted this week as well. Dev Patel is set to star in Rabbit Trap, which is a modern film about awakening ancient magic, which could be kind of interesting. Daredevil Born Again has officially been signed on for a second season. Superman Flight trailer. We get some new footage from the James Gunn Superman film. Still looks good to me. Hopefully Schuster's family will be able to work it out. Legend of Zelda gets a manga coming out soon. Alien Earth gets its second teaser trailer. Again, not much showing. Just shows a alien perspective going through like a tunnel and stuff like that. So that's about it. Barbarian director is set to direct a revival of Resident Evil. Did that one already. All right, those are the last two good stories. Idina Menzel is set to return to Broadway in Redwoods. Before we get to the final two stories, Lynn Bond passed away this week. She was a Bling Empire star, died at the age of 52, my age. The Gray debuted 13 years ago this week, and one of my favorite movies of all time, Before Sunrise, debuted 30 years ago this week. I watched it on its 30th anniversary this week. I will be doing the top 30 movies of 1995. That'll probably be up there at the top. So that'll be. I hadn't seen Before Sunrise in a while. Before Sunset's still my favorite. Hadn't seen Before Sunrise in a while. Still holds up. Actually, really, really enjoyed it and enjoyed rewatching it. Final two stories we have. Sun Ra Arkiston, a jazz musician named Marshall Allen, has released his debut solo jazz album, I should say, at the age of 100. So, see, never too late to follow your dreams. And finally, Paul Rubens comes out as gay in a posthumous documentary. I guess not really that big of a surprise, but he did pass away a year or so ago, and people had thoughts about it, but they weren't 100% positive about it. In the end, it doesn't really matter because sexual preference doesn't affect anybody except the person involved. All right, y'all. Not as long as I thought it would be. I had a lot of viewers today. Thank you for watching. I hope I did good for you guys. I will continue. As I said, Black History Month is still going to be a thing around here. Gulf of Mexico is still going to be a thing. Denali is still going to be a thing, regardless of what the felon in charge says. So here's hoping that things settle down. Yeah, right, whatever. And that I feel better soon. All right, well, it's Groundhog Day again. Probably need to check out that film again. Haven't watched that in a while either. It might be fun to rewatch that today, but probably won't. So I got nothing else to do. I'm going to take my Christmas lights down today and my Christmas tree and all that stuff down. So, and then we got a full week of work, and then another full week of work that ends on Valentine's Day. I'll be taking Valentine's Day off to go see Captain America: Brave New World. Real quick, I want to talk about that too, since this is Black History Month. The actor who plays Captain America, Anthony Mackie, got into a little trouble this week from far-right GOP MAGA fuckbags who said that he doesn't really believe that Captain America stands for America. And so we were like, blah, blah, blah. And he's actually is a good point. They broke down everything. Captain America, Steve Rogers, is America how we would like it. The John Walker Captain America, who was a punk-ass little bitch, whiny little bitch, violent shitbag who loves guns and shit like that, is how America is right now. And Anthony Mackie's Captain America is the way America should be. So Captain America is the way that people want it to be. It's the dream. The John Walker one is the way it actually is. And the Anthony Mackie Captain America is the way that it should be. But none of those really stand. And Captain America really doesn't stand for America. His stands for the ideals of America, freedom, and all that shit. So Anthony Mackie got notoriously roasted for all that. He absolutely should not have. And so please kick those fucking racist shitbags in their teeth and their mouths and tell them to fuck off. go see Cap America, Brave New World when it comes out on Valentine's Day. I'm going to go see it. I got nothing else to go with. Next week, so lead up to the Super Bowl. Yay, the Stupor Bowl. We'll see what other bullshit our country can get into. Excuse me. And hopefully I'll be okay. So we'll see what happens. We should have word about the Fantastic Four trailer, so we'll tell you all about that next week as well. As far as I know, I got nothing going on. We'll do my Super Bowl predictions. Me and MJ Khan, who used to do the comic book show with, we used to do start before we did our comic book show. We used to talk about the Super Bowl on the Sunday that before it came out, the Saturday before it came out, and make our predictions, stuff like that. I think we called it Man Day or something like that. I'll have my own special Man Day. I'll make my predictions of how much the Chiefs are going to win and what's going to happen. So I've given up that the Chiefs have the refs in their pocket, have the NFL salivating at the fact of all the ratings they're going to get for having Taylor Swift there. And the Swifties are all hoping that Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift on the field after they win their third Super Bowl in a row. On a plus side, if you follow the Super Bowl logo conspiracy, the next year's Super Bowl logo has popped up, and there's no red or green in the logo at all. So it looks like that maybe the Bills and Lions might get their Super Bowl finally. But again, we know that the Ravens were supposed to be in it last year with the purple in it, but instead they're like, oh no, we'll just say that was Taylor Swift and her purple dress, which is a bunch of bullshit. So the conspiracy really died there. Though, to be fair, the red, green in this one pretty much was Eagles, Chiefs, which is what we got. So hopefully next year it looks like maybe Bills, Lions, because it's all blues and silvers. Maybe the Cowboys. Yay. Fuck that shit. No fucking Cowboys. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think I'm finally done now. I'm going to keep getting better. I still got another day of recovery from this illness, and I go back to fucking work for missing 2 days. Good thing we're slow because there's not really much going on. So here's hoping. Thank you guys for watching. Keep Black History Month in your hearts. Keep following Black History Month. Also, something else I'm doing is I'm doing 28 pages. I'm reading 28 pages a day from now to the end of February for the 28 days in February. Just a way to get off of the computer and just as a way to get myself reoriented and resituated. So I did my 28 pages today. I actually did over 28 pages today, or 28 pages, 28 minutes of reading. I did over 28 minutes of reading. So I'm going to do some more later today. It's Groundhog Day again. Enjoy. We still got some warm weather coming. Supposedly the cold weather's going to be coming back in. So we'll see what happens. Let's cross our fingers for a good week. But let's be realistic. Probably not. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Happy Groundhog Day. Happy Black History Month.